Right, England kicked off their World Cup preparations on Saturday with a miserable 1-0 win over New Zealand. But Thomas Tuchel says, we will see his team get better.
Overall, I'm happy with the result and the clean sheet, and with the fact that we had 4 training sessions and now 1 game for everyone, and no one is injured. So that's the most important thing, because we can build from that. And I knew that a chunk of players was, last time they were with us was November. Some of them, quite a lot of them, missed March camp. So I knew after a long season, after 6 months of not being together, and we had 2 total different teams now on the pitch, that things can look like they looked a bit stuck. I liked the second half more than the first one. I think we played with a little bit more hunger and a little bit more desire, and yeah, we won deserved. That's also what we expect from us, but we will get better, and opponents will get better, we will get better. All good.
Now, the way I look at it,
Yes.
you learn nothing from a game like that.
No.
We're not meant to learn anything from it, right?
So you're spot on, mate. Anybody who was moaning about that performance, just shut up. Just shut up.
Yeah, calm down.
Because you don't understand the conditions, weather conditions, and also they're playing on concrete, mate. I played on pitches like that. I done my medial ligaments, worst injury I did pre-season in a game in America. I think it was Portland.
Really?
I think it might have been Portland. I can't remember where it was in America. Done my medial ligaments. Pitch is horrendous, mate. That was on Saturday about getting through the conditions, getting used to the conditions.
Yeah, I agree.
And trying to not injure yourself. When the game started, my son said to me, "Dad, that looks like an ACL pitch, that does." It really did, mate. So thank God everyone got through it without any injuries. That's all that mattered in that game, not the result, not the performance.
Did you learn anything from? I
nothing
sort
at all.
of the first third and the middle third. I thought it was the pace of a testimonial. When we were going forward, we looked okay. There were decent performances.
Well, mate, I will ask people that moan to go themselves to Florida and try and play like a 5-a-side in those conditions. Let them know how you get on. You won't be able to breathe. So that was about trying to get used to the conditions, climatise, and don't get injured. That's it. That's all.
Just get through it.
Yeah, that's all I would have been thinking on that pitch.
I agree. There are a lot of
Don't
people
get
moaning
injured.
about that. Maybe we should be a no-moan zone.
Exactly.
Like that?
Have we seen other fixtures, friendlies?
I know.
France lost to Ivory Coast. Spain drew with Iraq. Like, it's about just getting minutes under your belt.
I agree.
Like, the pitch, mate, on these Americans, honestly, mate, this could be one of them shambles World Cups, by the way.
Oh, don't say that. Yeah, we're not getting, I said it's a no-moan zone.
I know.
We're a no-moan zone
You
today.
said that it's normal on the breakfast show tomorrow.
No, from now it's a no-moan zone.
Okay.
All right?
Who was it that moans on the breakfast show?
Well, you're doing a lot of it now. Joining us now is someone that was capped 13 times by the Three Lions. He also played alongside Harry Kane 50 times for club and country. As we say, good morning and welcome to the breakfast show to the wonderful Andros Townsend.
Morning, Andros.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are we?
Well, good, very well. Thanks so much for coming on. Look, first things first, have you ever seen the Kardashians?
I haven't. No, I enjoyed that convo, but no, I agree with you, Andy. I've never actually sat down and watched it.
Yeah, Gabby's seen every single episode of every series and questions why I haven't.
Ask something else, Andy.
Thanks so much for coming on. I really want to talk to you about your water fasting a bit later on, so we'll have that chat. Like, I'm fascinated by you doing it. But let's start with England and Harry Kane. Do you think they are over-reliant on Harry Kane? Because when you've got someone that's one of the greatest number 9s in the world, I suppose any country would be, right?
Yeah, I don't think they are over-reliant on Harry. I don't think he's, especially in the major tournaments, we've not really seen the best of him yet. And I think this might be the time. It's his first one outside of England, and everyone talks about how tough the Premier League is and draining on the body by the time it comes to the summer. So, yeah, I'm really excited to see him play in this tournament off the back of an unbelievable season where he broke so many records. So, yeah, I'm excited to see him get going as well as a lot of other guys in that team who are firing at the right moment.
What about our wingers, Andros? Are you happy with the choices? Saka, Madueke, Gordon and Rashford? And do you think Engamore is unlucky to not make it?
No, I think Engamore played well against New Zealand, but I just think it's too soon for him. He hasn't played enough at the highest level for Liverpool yet. And I think that the guys that Tuchel did pick, they're the top. There's Rashford, who can play number 9, who can play 11. Gordon, who's played number 9 as well. Saka, Madueke, who've won the Premier League, played in the Champions League final. So these guys, for me, you could have picked a Foden or whoever else, but these guys are, for me, the top choices to take England into the World Cup.
I really think to win a World Cup, you need a great spine. And in Declan Rice, Jude Bellingham and Harry, we've got one of the best in the tournament. My view is if Harry Kane reproduces the form that we saw for club Bayern Munich, was it 61 goals in all comps, then we'll win the World Cup. Do you think if he continues that form, we will win it? We've got every chance. How far do you think we'll go if he does?
I think we've got every chance. Like I said before, Harry Kane in the last few tournaments, he hasn't been at his best, and
No.
still England have made a semi and two finals. So you have a Harry Kane on top form. And as well, I think watching that game yesterday, I feel like England are doing more to get Harry Kane in the game, doing more when he drops deep to get the ball and get turned. For example, Rashford and Watkins were making runs in behind him. They were supplementing Harry Kane more, whereas in the past, I don't feel like we've had the runners off Harry Kane when he has dropped deep to get the ball. So I think that the signs are there that Tuchel knows how to get the best of Harry Kane, obviously having worked with him at club level a few years ago.
Andros, some people were talking about the game on the weekend against New Zealand. It wasn't a great performance. It was this and that. But like I said earlier to Andy, that game was about getting through, wasn't it? About the conditions. Look at the state of the pitch that they played on. It was about trying to climatise to the conditions and not get injured, wasn't it?
Exactly that, Gabby. And I think that's why the manager played 2 11s, just to give everyone, as much of the players as possible, the experience of playing in those conditions. I was there last year for the Club World Cup in Miami and in the East Coast, and it was tough because not only is it hot, but it's humid. It's extremely difficult. I remember speaking to the sporting director at Juventus at the time, and he said his players were dreading playing in the afternoon in the East Coast. That's how bad it is. So I think the fact that England won the game and didn't really have too much troubles defensively. New Zealand didn't really test them. I think that's the way it's going to have to be when they're playing in the afternoon in the East Coast.
You've played a lot of football in Thailand, of course. Are you there now? Or are you in LA? I can't work out where you are.
I'm in LA at the
Okay,
minute, but
okay.
I played the last season in Thailand. Yeah.
What's the humidity out there for you? How much of a sort of not an eye opener was it? But you can't really prepare for that unless you're out there, right?
You can't really prepare for it, and you don't really get used to it. There's not a time in the whole season where I thought, right, now I'm used to the conditions. It's all right, how can I adapt my game to be able to survive? Am I going to have to time my runs? Am I going to have to dribble once and then keep it simple? Am I going to have to defensively? Am I going to have to know when and where to press? Because I can't go every time. And I think that's what the England guys are going to have. It's a similar conditions, probably not as hot, but that's what the guys are going to have to figure out over the two friendly games is I can't go every time. I'm going to have to choose my moments. And I think we saw in New Zealand, even like the Anthony Gordons and the Ollie Watkins, who are go, go, go. Even those guys were choosing their moments. Ngamoa played very well on the right, but he didn't go 1v1 every time. He kept it simple sometimes. And that's the way it's going to have to be.
It's a weird feeling, isn't it, Andros? I remember going to Hong Kong quite a lot pre-season tours, and you can't breathe, can you? It's like you're trying to sprint and you feel like you're going to like pass out from not being able to breathe. Do you think that the manager will have to make sure he's using the squad in this World Cup? You know, in those games where you're playing in those conditions, even the game, if we get to when we get to the last 16, if that's Mexico in Mexico City, he has to use a squad of players, doesn't he?
Yeah, 100%, Gabby. And I think that's why we spoke about the wingers he has. There's probably no real difference in a Gordon or a Rashford or a Saka or a Madueke or Harry Kane. He's tied after 60 minutes. We've got the pace of Ollie Watkins who can terrorise teams. So we've got the strength in depth. I think it's only really France that can rival us in that strength in depth. And especially at a tournament like this, we're going to need every single one of those players to be able to get to the final and beyond that.